Yupanqui, like this, all of them. To the last one, who was Atahualpa. And what happens here? Look, in our history, always we have to mention this guy, Pachacute. Yes, because remember this, in Quechua, look, Pacha. Pacha means earth. That's why you hear about Pachamama, no? Mother Earth. Pacha is earth, and Cute, no, means change or transform. So Pachacute was not his name. This Inca was Tito Cusi Yupanqui, but he changed his name with Pachacute because he says, I am a Pachacute because I changed the earth, I transformed the earth. So what happens? During his empire, it was around 1420s to almost 1490s, almost 1500s, this Inca designed one of the biggest projects to expand our empire all the way to the Amazon. Because before him, all of these Incas expand the empire all the way to the south, where is now Bolivia, and all the way to the west, which is the Pacific Ocean coast, to the coast, right? But the final step for the empire was try to conquer the Amazon area. That's why Pachacute, he designed the line, like I told you yesterday, how they signed the line, following the river. Follow the river, that's easy. That's why Pachacute is the guy who just designed Machu Picchu, Ollantaytambo, Patallacta, Wilcaracay, Yurak Rumi, Vilcabamba, and all the places along the way. Yes? And also he transformed a little bit all this structure in the town, in the city, and built this temple. Yes? Saqsaywaman. And now one of the questions is, why? What happens with the empire? What happens with the Inca? Why they disappear? By the Spaniards? Because always there is a question, one more time, says, how was possible for only 200 Spaniards comes to Peru and conquer this empire with more than 12 million of people, right? The problem was here, no? Here in Cusco, not the Spaniards. The Spaniards were super lucky or were super smart to move here to Peru just on a good timing, when the empire was raw, collapsed. Yes? How was this? Look, Huayna Capac, the king, Inca number 12 in our history, he was he was a good king during the empire, but he did something wrong. Look, when Huayna Capac was very young, he has been one of the children here in Cusco, but no with his wife, with one of the concubines. What does it mean? Huayna Capac has been the first king, was Atahualpa. And what happens? No, the baby was born here in Cusco, and he says, "How I hide this one?" No, behind. He decides to take the baby one, just born, with his mother, all the way up to Ecuador, to Quito. In Quito, Huayna Capac left them, the baby and the mother, and told to everyone, "Look, this is my son. No, has to be the next Inca of the future." Well, and then he moves back again to Cusco. He was married here and has been 2 more kids, Huáscar and Manco. So in total he has been 3. Okay, Atahualpa the first, Huáscar and Manco. Okay, the time was good. Pass and pass and pass the time. When finally it was the moment to recognize the next Inca, the next king, he says, "Okay, Huáscar," the son with his wife, in Cusco. And something happens. The news goes all the way up to Ecuador, and Atahualpa says, "No, I'm the first one." And people in the north recognize him like Inca. So, 2 Incas. No? 2 Incas at the same time. It was 1530. But if this was happens here in the empire, something happens in Mexico. Right? 1519, the first Spaniards, led by Cortés, Hernán Cortés, arrived to Mexico and conquered Mexico. Right? But in the just part of the tripulation of Cortés, it was one of the just a smart guy, no? And his name was Francisco Pizarro. Yes, and Francisco Pizarro, he did some expeditions to everywhere down to the south, explore the places, and in one of these expeditions, around 1520s, Pizarro moved all the way down to the coast of Peru. What he found in the coast? Some people, some locals, some Quechuas, fishing, no, in the sea. And what he did, he took one of them, just jumped on the boat, yes, and teach to him all the language, Spanish, right? Finally, this guy just provide all the information to the Spaniards. The Spaniards, they know already what happens in the empire. So Pizarro was very quiet, very patient, smart, waiting for. Finally, when these two brothers decide to fight, yes, Pizarro says, okay, it's the time. Moves all the way down to Peru, right? And two kings fighting. Atahualpa, when he knows about the Spaniards arriving to the coast of Peru, he decides to move to the coast and see them. He says, I'm gonna go to meet with these strange people, what they want. But on the way to the north, he just sent some people to Cusco and to kill his brother. So Huáscar, bye.
Okay.
Yes, because Atahualpa believes, says, if the locals or the gods or the other strange people recognize me like the only one, I'm gonna be the king. So Atahualpa moved to Cajamarca, meet with the Spaniards at the first time, and the people recognize him like Inca because he was the only one. But something happens. All the news still comes out to the north, and everyone knows that Atahualpa killed his brother. So, first time in the history of these people introduced to Peru the European justice as a court, with the lawyer in this place, the lawyer in the other side. Huh? And finally, they decide to kill this Inca. So, Huáscar, then Atahualpa, no more heads. But I told you, this Inca has been 3 sons.
Almost
Not
one
only
more.
2, one more. But the another one more, it was Manco. Manco was too young. Manco was around 14, 15, 16 years old when the Spaniards moved to him. But Manco moved. Gone, Manco took the control, but he was too young. And the Spaniards arrived to Cusco. People fight here. Saqsaywaman was one of the biggest places where it was a big war in between Spaniards and Incas. No, Spaniards, they took big advantage because they arrived to Cusco not only 200 Spaniards. They arrived 200 Spaniards plus 4, 5, 6,000 locals, Quechuas, follow and support the Spaniards. So what about Manco? Manco here feels not so safe and says, okay, we have to reorganize the empire. Yes? And he decides to move all the way to Vilcabamba. No? All the way to Vilcabamba, the place after Machu Picchu. Says, okay, in Vilcabamba, he called to all the leaders from everyone, every single region. It's okay, we have to just organize and reorganize the empire. People moved to Vilcabamba, but was too late. Many more Spaniards come here, many more locals help to the Spaniards and follow them. They change their lives to be Catholics, everything. So, finally Pizarro decides to move to Vilcabamba, capture the last Inca Manco, and took him all the way back to Cusco. And around 1537, in the middle of the plaza, in front of everyone, the Spaniards killed the Inca. So the line and the dynasty gone and disappears. And what about after this? Many more Incas come from everywhere because people from some different areas in the north or in the south say, okay, I'm the next Inca. Why? I was son of this, one of them. And it was real because imagine when the Incas, each one of them walked around the place, around the empire. Imagine if the Inca has to move just to Chile, right? Spend months walking. But on the way, they found small towns or places to stay. And in every single place, the Inca has many concubines. No? The history called them the virgins of the sun. Right? And imagine, when the Inca walked all around the empire, once in the lifetime, was walking for about 7 or 8 years. In these 7 years, the Inca has been in between 500 to 600 kids, sons. And the history doesn't mention girls, daughters, only boys. Imagine 600 kids everywhere. So everyone says, okay, my father is the Inca. I have to be the Inca. No? Always like this. That's why, no? It's just how the beginning of the confusion of the history, how the people recognize the population here. That's why the Spaniards call Incas to everyone. But we are Quechuas. Right? But it's just how. And the description that we can see here by the gold bracelet, look at the necklace, the crowns, everything is just everything by the Spaniards because it's how they saw things. Or the Inca, like they call it, no? The Inca. The Inca, the leader of the Indians, looks like this. About the wools, about the textiles, right? The most fine textile, and we'll see later here, is vicuña, by vicuña, right? Only the Inca's wife, she was using the baby alpaca wool. The rest of people, alpaca, adult, well, quite nice, but the Inca used always vicuña. And vicuña is the same kind of animal, the same family, but it's super, super fine. It's the most fine fiber around the world now, vicuña. And we'll see how expensive it is, right? But in general here, Pachacutec, he started to design the new construction of this big temple. Saqsaywaman is a name, Quechua name, or at least sounds like, because we have a big problem with the names. All of them are just recorded by Spaniards. So that's why, no? Imagine, it's quite phonetic, one more time. And it depends how you hear. Yes, how we can write the names. Example, where we are now, the city is called Cusco.
Cusco.
Yeah, Cusco. C-U-S-C-O. Cusco. Okay? Now, how you spell this? Cusco. This is the name. Cusco. Right? But how you spell this? Cusco. Q? No? Q-O-S-Q-O. Cusco. Or double C? Double C-O. Cusco. K? Cusco. G and C. Cusco. Doesn't matter. It just depends how you hear and how you just write. And the problem is what, no? Probably the Spaniard comes to here and asking, what is the name of this place? Cusco. Oh, Cusco, Cusco. Oh, Cusco. Change. Right? And we are using as a original name. Just what happens with the names? Most of the names has this performance. You have to find the original name. Many of them, like original of own names, has in translation. But in this case of Saqsaywaman, comes from Saqsauma, which is Uma is a head, and the Saqsauma means like a puma. You know pumas?
Yeah.
It's a puma head. Why? Part of the design of the city of Cusco, from the air, looks like puma. Cusco is a puma city. The bottom, all the body, the back, all the way up, and the top here is the head. That's why, no, we call as a puma head or Saqsauma, and nowadays Saqsaywaman. Tarzan. Okay? Imagine how changed. Are different names who are still original, or some of them are with some modifications. Okay? So we can walk around. We pass just around here and we'll see how the design of these places. But first we can see this picture. Look where we are. Okay, we are here, okay?
Ooh.
We are here. And look at the walls from the air. Look at the zigzag. Yes, look how the walls are. According for some archaeologists, this big design has one of the big options to just people probably try to represent the same line to the lining during the rain, no? Has the lining. And they try to make this. Why? We have a few lakes and one of the artificial lake as a container where the people was provide the water from there all the way down to Cusco. No? It's more or less the idea how Saqsaywaman is. It's big, right? Look, this is the lake, artificial lake.
All around.
Yes, all around. So there are many more places around here. Saqsaywaman, like a national park, no, it's not only this. It's all around. So means all the mountains around. There are more than 200 Inca remains all around this place. This is the principal. I will see a few more after this. Okay? So we're gonna walk. We're here. Our circuit is the blue line. Look, we walk this one. We see all these walls and the structures. And we cross all the way. Our bus, it's here now. Okay? Just over there. Cross this. It looks big, but just cross this flat area and down.